Hey, what's going on, guys? So here's another video of my F150, and I'm gonna give you a little input on how to do the heavy duty F250 Zf5 42 tranny swap on the 4.9 liter. So basically everything bolts on as long as you get it for the 4.9, 5.0 or 5.8 liter small block Ford. It will bolt on to the same housing. It's basically the same housing. The bell housing is the same, so it bolts on to the 4.9 as long as it's the same engine type, 4.9, 5.0 or 5.8, I believe. So here we go. Here's the fun part. There she is. Sorry about, I'm trying to videotape here on the space. I don't know if we'll be able to see it, but there we go. That's it. So that's for Zf5. This is my 4.9. Okay. Everything bolts on. The only issue that I had, since this is a 95, and probably the main issue, I put new clutch and everything in there. I didn't videotape it because it's just been one of those weeks that one thing breaks and then another one comes along and another one and another one. So I just been getting it done and I haven't been able to put any videos. So the main thing for you guys to check it when you're doing this swap is that the speed sensor on this 95 is this cable here, and that's your reverse, but that's the only sensor that it plugs in into the tranny. So it's reverse and speed sensor at the same time, I believe, because there's no other connection at all in the tranny. Well, look, I might have a little oil leak on the Allen key, so I might have to tighten that up. Alright, so on the brake line, see this brake? See how orange that is, or kind of gold looking? That's the new model. That's the new model of a slave cylinder. And this transmission came out of 96 F250 with a 5.8 on it. So it came with a slave cylinder on it, but it was a different hose for me to connect to. So instead of me having to track down the new pump with line and everything, what I did was I cut into the bell housing. Okay, I cut just enough for the orange to actually pass through. So it wasn't even, I don't know, it was just a hair that I had to trim on the bell housing for it to actually slide in and to have it working. The same it's the same part number, because I checked it on auto parts, the same part number, but the slave apparently for the F250, and it bolts on, everything bolts on perfectly fine. There's no tightness, there's nothing, it bolts on. It's just that this orange is just a hair bigger, like farther away. So this line connects to it, so that's what I did. I trimmed the bell housing a little bit, it squeezed out, put it in, and good to go. So for the conversion, if you have it on the 95 F150 and you're doing the same thing, you'll need to do that on the tranny. And this is my same cross member from the Mazda transmission. I had the Mazda M5 OD, whatever, that garbage tranny. So this is the same cross member. I do have the heavy duty one, and I do have the heavy duty motor mount, tranny mount. But I recently bought this one for the M5 OD. So I just put this one for now, but I do have the heavy duty one. The heavy duty one, it's solid on the inside, and there's no that big hole there. It's not there. But this is a brand new one that I just put in not too long ago, so it should be fine. But the major problem The major problem that you guys are gonna have is the dry shaft. The dry shaft, it's not a straight bolt-on. Basically, my dry shaft, the stock dry shaft on the transmission, it's like an automatic dry shaft. It goes into the tranny. On the Mazda F5, the shaft itself goes into the tranny, and that's how it's secure. Well, this one is on the outside. It's external. So you need to make this dry shaft, this section here. Now, me, on my case, I bought a brand new dry shaft. I called the company. They told me how to measure. It's basically on the long bed F150. It's 76.5 inches from here to the diff. From here to the diff back there, it's 76.5 inches. And then the actual U-joint is the same. The one that bolts onto the tranny, this one, is the same size, the same stock size as the OEM one on the Mazda. On the U-joint on the actual dry shaft is the same size, but on here they made it bigger just for better things on heavy duty stuff. But here is the same size. It's like, I think it's like a 1 inch and 1/16 or something. It's like really almost like an inch, but you have to measure that. You also have to measure the diameter from here to here, from this little pin, from the inside of the little pin to the other side of the little pin, but it's roughly about 4 inches. So you need that. You need this dry shaft in order to make it work. Why? Because this yoke here has to move back and forward whenever the suspension go up and down. Because if you make it straight solid, you're gonna break things. Because it's just gonna push into the tranny or it's gonna push into your diff. So you can't have it straight. So you have to make on this transmission, this is the way that you gotta do it. And a lot of people, I searched a little bit about this, and basically, even if you get a dry shaft from the stock 250, it's not gonna work. It's completely different. It bolts on to here, and I'm not sure if it's long enough, but on the diff itself back there where it bolts on is different on the F250. It's like a heavier duty because the diff on the F250 is bigger. I think it's like a 10 inch, something like that. Is a bigger heavy duty differential. So the bolt pattern and the actual bracket that bolts to it is completely different. So it's not gonna work. So don't waste your time with buying that dry shaft, because if not, instead of making a new one, you can apply it from here to there, but you might have to still cut it and put your stock joint and probably shorten or make it longer, the dry shaft on the F250. So this dry shaft, I had it made and it cost me like 500. Well, actually, with shipping and everything, because it was a company out of town, and it cost me about $550. I had it made in the same day, and they shipped it over, and I got it the 2 days after. So, and it bolts right on. Haven't had an issue with it yet. But yeah, so for the 4.9 or the 5.0 or the 5.8 Zf5 42 tranny swap, this is how it's done. I also upgraded the clutch. It's the 11-inch clutch with a pressure plate and brand new flywheel. So that's new. The slave is also new, because I just put that one in on the Mazda M5 OD, I think it is. I took it out and put that new slave because it was leaking. So this is a brand new slave. Now I have brand new clutch, pressure plate, flywheel, all that is brand new. Now I got the tranny. I got to put my new bushings on the stick shift because right now it doesn't have any bushings, so it's kind of flopping everywhere. But the tranny is darn solid. All the gears are perfectly fine. And the tranny cost me, I paid for this tranny out of state. It wasn't here in Florida. It was out of state. It took about a week and a half or so to get. I paid $550 with shipping. That's a heck of a deal for what I have searched, and it's still all over about $1,000, $1,200. So it's pretty pricey. You don't want to confuse this one to the 7.3 tranny because the bolt pattern is different on the bill housing. It's a big block bolt pattern, so it's not gonna work. So you need to have only the gas small block engines, 4.9, 5.0, and 5.8. So you get your tranny. On my case, I paid $550 for the tranny. I paid $550 for the drive shaft. So that's already $1,100. And on my discount on my part for the clutch kit, it was about $200. So roughly $1,300 to do this swap. If you can get the tranny cheaper, by all means. If you can get the drive shaft made cheaper, or just cut and wool the little piece that you need from the OEM drive shaft, and just add whatever section you need from this one. I guess you can do that. I just decided to get it all new, just to have it all new, and I don't have to be messing with it. But yeah, so I did it for $1,300, somewhere in there. So make it $1,500. Let's just say between the oil and on the oil for the tranny, it's Mercon 5. I search everywhere, and it's Mercon 5. So yeah, if anybody is trying to do this swap, let me know. I kind of went through a little bit. I'm trying to get this one going, and it took me a minute to get all the parts and whatnot. But yeah, the cross member bolts on, the same stock motor mount or tranny mount, the same f150 slave. You just gotta trim that bill housing right where it connects. You gotta trim that bill housing, and she'll be fine. And yeah, in there I didn't have to, the tunnel, I didn't have to cut it or anything. It goes right where the stock one was. Definitely you can see that this one is a lot beefier, and it's really heavy. So you might want to have your buddy around to be able to get this one done. I've seen a lot of people, when they do it on the floor, they put an engine hoist through the tunnel, because this tunnel is like a 2-section. So it has this big window and a small one for the stick. But I've seen people take the big window off. You got to take your carpet off and whatnot. But you take the carpet out, you take this big window off, and they put the engine hoist and they strap it down to the tranny. That's how they pull the tranny up, and you can push it in and whatnot. For some reason, I did have a little struggle on pushing mine in. It just wasn't lining up for some reason. The other thing is that the tranny, in my case at least, the tranny came with the pins, the guideline pins. It came on the bell housing on the tranny itself. So I had to take those off, because it's just easier to have your plate that goes behind the clutch and the pins, the guy pins on the engine block, and it's just easier to put this one on those line pins. So take those off out of the bed housing of the tranny. It's just easier. But yeah, so yeah, about $1,300. That was my cost to swap out the tranny with a drive shaft made completely, and tranny, brand new clutch and flywheel, and the bushings. They're like the rebuild kit for the stick. And later I'll do a drive. Let me get out of here. Later I'll do a drive on the tranny, how it feels, but compared to the stock tranny, it's day and night. Day and night completely compared to the stock tranny. It just you don't feel first gear, especially with this heavy bed that I have on. You don't feel the weight at all. On the other tranny, she was struggling to pull this thing, because this thing is like really steel made. It's really heavy duty. It's heavy as hell. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember in my other videos, but I don't know, I had to put my air suspension in there to help out on the weight. So this bed is really heavy, but I was having a struggle issue with the stock tranny, and with this tranny, no issues whatsoever. You put it on first gear, and the engine has the power to move it. I'll say probably might have to rev it a little bit higher, because right now, for what I've noticed, is that maybe because of the weight that I have on the truck, but what I noticed is that it's probably, I gotta get at least 50 miles per hour out of every gear. If not, she's gonna kind of bug out at the end of fourth gear. She's gonna try to bug out a little bit. But so I just gotta rev it up a little bit longer, and probably down the road I'll get like 410 gears on it or something to make it spool up a little bit faster. But definitely the weight, she doesn't feel it. This tranny is like a man's tranny. It's not like the garbage Mazda tranny. That's, I can't say how bad that garbage is. It's pretty bad. But anyways, hope this helps anybody. That's how you do it. If you guys have any questions. And this is a two-wheel drive, obviously. It's not a four-wheel drive, so it's a two-wheel drive conversion. Four-wheel drive, there's a few videos out there. There's more videos out there, but it's still the same process. And the good thing is that it actually bolts on to the tranny itself, the transfer case. So it's easier to do that swap than to do this one, in a sense of parts wise. But it's still the same principle. It's just less parts that you have to buy, because I think that you can still use everything from the transfer case back. You can use everything. All you have to do is just swap the tranny, and you can use the same clutch, same everything, but you can upgrade the clutch a little bit, so it will be a little bit beefier. But yeah, so this is for the tranny swap, the Zf5 42 on a two-wheel drive 95 f150. Alright guys, if you guys have any questions or any concerns, write me. I'll try to answer and I'll try to help out. Oh yeah, and everybody that sees me, it sees me with a Chevy mat on the bottom, and I keep on telling people that's where you want to have them. You want to step on them. I'm not a fan of Chevy. I like the engines, but the trannies are garbage. But yeah, that's what I tell people. And that's where you want to have your Chevy logo, right under your foot. Alright guys, it's a little bit funny, but anyways, yeah, let me know, help anybody. Like always, share, subscribe, help me help you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.